The idea was to have at least 45 minutes. So I guess by quarter to 12, so at the latest, we will be able to start.
Fulvio, this is Tassos from Stress-Free. Could we please start the session so that we don't lose the time?
Okay.
There are no more people waiting to enter the room.
Okay, great. Okay, yeah, wonderful. Thanks. Okay, so welcome everyone. I will make just a very short introduction, not to take too much time, so that we can discuss the couple of questions we have. Actually, we thought with Federica that it would be useful to use Mentimeter. So I invite you to log in. I'm writing in the chat window. Log into menti.com and use the code which I'm typing here. So if you go to menti.com and use this code 582013, you will be able to vote and more quickly answer questions. Now, the questions that we have been asked to share our ideas upon are rather broad, and that's why we decided to split them into two groups. So you will have a first question: how do you assess the tripartite partnership of the Commission, EOSC Association, and Steering Board, and is it adequate to face the challenge? This will be question one, and then we will go rather quickly to question two: are research infrastructure user communities well represented in the future EOSC governance? And then we will have an open question: what can be improved? And then we can have a round of table to share our ideas. Then after this first block, we will ask whether your research infrastructure is going to join the association, and what are the perceived benefits from doing this. Okay, so I will also now share my screen so that you can see the nice graphs moving. And I think we can start with the first question. Wait a second. Okay, this is now I need to share. Okay, you see my screen?
Yes.
Great. So we have, say, another minute or two to vote on this. And then we go to second, and then we stop for discussion at the third question: what can be improved? Okay, seems already clear that there will be some discussion at question 3. Okay, so let me write down the number here. 3 and 5 is 4. Okay, let's move to the next one, if I manage. Okay. Are research infrastructure and user communities well represented in future EOSC governance? Please express. Okay, I think we had 9 votes also in the previous one, so I assume that everybody voted, which means we can go to, yeah, the open one. What can be improved to enhance the representativeness of research infrastructure and user communities? This is an open question, so feel free to write what your thoughts are, and also to, I think you can enable the microphone yourself if you want to elaborate more, say live. Do I have a chat window here? Let's see. Where is it? Okay. Okay, so regarding your comments, I see you have some form of platform bodies to dialogue. Okay, and well, I'm not sure I'm getting the comment EOS Working Group Task Force. So can I ask who put these comments to further elaborate on this? Okay, I will stop screen sharing for a second because I'm not sure whether we have, okay, I'm losing something in the chat window. Okay. I'm getting back to screen sharing. Okay, I see there is some consensus about representativeness. Yeah, okay. Okay, I see that this is highlighted at least 3-4 times. So platforms to dialogue, interact with others like the HPC usage infrastructure, also representativeness of user communities and university as small research organization. So there's quite a lot of consensus here. Is anybody willing to share, to elaborate more on the comments made?
Maybe I can make a start. My name is Jan Biebelitz. I'm coordinator of the ERG support project. And I wrote this part of providing a dedicated platform or forum for universities or smaller research organizations to address the long tail of science. I think probably the big research infrastructures will be have a good representation in the EOSC governance, and also the funders, and also the commission, of course. But since EOSC is aiming to facilitate the open science policy in Europe, also the smaller researchers and research organizations and universities should have a say, although it's very complicated, as the last EOSC stakeholder forums showed that it's very difficult to address them and get them engaged. But at least some kind of possibility for those should be there. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for your comment. Indeed, this is something which is should be somehow included within the EOSC association, some kind of a body, but yet the formalization of this representation is not at all, not 100% clear, at least to me. So I share your view that there should be wider representation of the research world. And then I see there are 2 comments on budgets and funding. Actually, they have a different, take the 2 different aspects of this. One is provide more funding to research infrastructure and other communities to stimulate participation in EOSC, especially the smaller entities. And the other is give more budget to RI in Horizon Europe, stressing the role of the research infrastructure in applied and fundamental research, as was remembered this morning by Anna. Somebody wants to.
I'm
Yeah,
Nicolas Villacorta. I'm the culprit, or the one that wrote about this year more budget. That's something from Helmholtz always say, that we need more budget for research infrastructures. What we are seeing in the last, in the very fresh draft of the World Program for Research Infrastructures, is that EOSC is always mentioned, not only in the part for EOSC, but that means that research infrastructures, they need also to dedicate some resources for EOSC, which means that they need to be properly supported, and we don't see that in the last discussions of the Council and Commission. So that's something we are trying to do internally in the European Commission, to raise awareness about research infrastructures and how they really contribute to EOSC, but not only, also to fundamental research, applied research, and innovation. That's it.
Yeah, I am the other one responsible for budget suggestion, because we are a small research infrastructure, and participating in EOSC is for us, if we need to become a member, for example, is currently just a net win, net loss, because you have to dedicate resources to it that we just don't have.
Mm-hmm.
And we are at the moment, we are coming in through the science cluster to the through the escape cluster. But if you want to enhance membership or stimulate that the individual RIs become members or something, and that they to improve participation, yeah, then I think you need to do a bit more from the EC side in that respect.
I really want to plead on that. Small research infrastructures, they are very crucial to widen the participation in the EOSC, not only from the research infrastructures, but also from the research communities they serve, especially those small research infrastructures. And what we don't like to see is how EOSC becomes a closed shop, where only people that knows the jargon, only people that knows that it's already there, get somehow to participate or to profit from the topics in the work program, for example.
Thanks a lot for your comments. I think they were very clearly expressed. So I think there are more or less in line with what Bob Jones was saying, and that EOSC is probably, I guess, EOSC is perceived as the next big thing. So we need to be there somehow. But at the same time, there are worries that it may be disruptive. And I see that these worries were very clearly expressed by Nicholas' thought, and also by Harrow. Yeah. Can I ask whoever wrote the comment on the EOSC Working Group Task Force to clarify what the meaning was? Sorry, I'm not getting it. Okay, so maybe too shy.
Sorry, my microphone was still muted.
Okay, thanks.
I had two buttons. Sorry. No, it was. I wrote it. It's just that there are already a number of EOSC working groups present, but as far as I know, but perhaps I've missed it, there's no such one on, for example, improving the collaboration with research infrastructures and user communities. Perhaps this could be something. A working group that looks into, okay, how can this relationship be improved in the future? How can collaboration and their input be better received into the EOSC community?
Okay, thanks. Now it's more clear. So how, yeah, some action to improve the collaboration. Okay. Okay, now going back to the budget question. We talked about the worries and that there should be dedicated budget for research infrastructure. So I understand the point was research infrastructure strive to do what their communities need, and especially for smaller ones, paying a fee to ensure that your voice is heard in the EOSC association, a step zero would be a net loss. Okay, then okay, it will pay off in the future, hopefully, but yeah, needs something to start with. And apart from, okay, this comment already had a hint to a solution, so provide a specific budget to this. As for the other by Nicholas, do you have some concrete way so how to address the fact that in the official documents you will find references to EOSC and not specifically to research infrastructure? I think I understood this was the line of your comment.
Well, actually, what we have seen in the work program of research infrastructures is that the former advanced communities, they make reference always to ESC. But from other drafts of the clusters of Horizon Europe, we haven't seen that. So that would help actually in those other parts of Horizon Europe, if we somehow manage through the members of the different program committees to include always one small sentence about data to be provided to EOSC, but always don't forget about and also the role of the research infrastructures in this topic to produce the data should be also taken into account. That would be something for me, and for that we really need to make lobby on one side to the member states, to each of our representatives in the program committee, not only for research infrastructures, but also for the clusters. And on the other side, also make the colleagues at DGRTD, not in the group of research infrastructures, but in the groups of the other clusters, in the unit of the other clusters, that actually research infrastructures play a role in collecting, analyzing, curating, and preserving the data.
Okay, so one way would be to lobby on
multiple
levels.
scales. Yeah. That's
it. Yeah, thanks. Okay, thanks for your comment until now. And I would like to, so I'm pasting here. Let's see if it works. Yeah, the link to the, sorry, made wrong paste. Okay, pasting in the chat window now. The link to the shared document where Federica is kindly taking minutes of what we are saying, because at the end, there will be a short 2-minute summary when we are back to the plenary with the main results of the breakout sessions. So feel free to comment on that. I'm not sure it is open for editing, but it's open for comments. And maybe we can allow a few minutes before closing this, let's say at 12:25, to Federica to go through the, yeah. Yeah, you're right, Philip. It was quicker, unfortunately, so so handy. Maybe we can allow Federica a few minutes to go through the minutes and see whether we all agree on that. Okay, let me share the screen again, and I think we can move to the next. Share screen is here. Okay. Is your research infrastructure joining the association? Possible answers are yes, already joined, will do in the future, thinking of it, but no. And then next question, there will be room for comments.
To be honest, we haven't even discussed it within our organization what to do about this. So basically none of the options
okay.
would be entirely correct.
Okay, well, I can change it right away. Yeah? Wait a second. So please refrain from voting then, and I will update the question now and see. Is this one? Is yes, add another. Okay. Okay. Okay, I can go back to screen sharing now. So we'll do in the future and thinking of it rather similar, would interpret them as 2 shades of gray. One, we'll do in the future more leaning towards a yes. Somehow we have already agreed and we are setting up and preparing documents, whereas thinking of it is a pale gray. So we will consider that.
I had already answered, so I cannot change my answer.
Okay. So I put it, your one was a no?
Yes.
Okay, so not yet discussed is really 2 votes. Okay. Okay, and I think, sorry. think we can go now to the last one, which is again an open question. What are the benefits for thematic research organizations, research infrastructure organizations joining the EOSC Association? Wait a second. Let me probably share my screen. Okay. And while you vote, I think we can also open up this to wider comments, like what are the benefits, what are the risks. Some we already heard, and also I think it was raised in the plenary. So Sarah assured that EOSC Association will listen to research infrastructures, no matter whether they are part of it, they pay a fee to be part of it, or they don't. So whether you feel that this not being officially part of it by paying a fee could be somehow harm your representation in the EOSC. Okay, so one benefit would be being more visible in a cross-disciplinary context. And ensure data can be shared and people can collaborate in these environments. So another comment, be able to shape the work programs, but we fear that opinions will be diluted, so pacts among organizations will be a must. And then a comment that it's more of a question, I see. So it remains to be seen what are the benefits, as the EOSC would constitute an additional access point to the research infrastructure data and services. And if I can ask the author of this comment, do you see this as a risk? And that, so research infrastructure are well-established communities with their services and they know their users and vice versa. And you feel that having another access point to your data and services might be somehow hampering the work which has been done over past years, or what was the?
Yeah, so this is Anna Sorvari-Sundet from Arctris Research Infrastructure. So what I'm saying that I'm seeing this additional access point as a positive thing. So it's a kind of a more like a visibility and one additional channel for users to access the data. But really the benefits will be, I think that it's still to remain to be seen how much there will be additional use, how much it will be enhancing the cross domain use of the data and so forth. So I think that we are still in the situation where it's very difficult to, in general, state what would be the future benefits. Of course, always to working together and do co-creation together is an asset, but I think that the real benefits will be seen later.
Okay, thanks. And I think that the last comment received is well as in line with what you were saying. I would hope more opportunities for cross-fertilization. However, if the research infrastructure are already organized, they have already organized themselves by theme, there may not be a lot of those. Yeah, and I think this is along the same lines that the research infrastructures are organized across a theme, so they serve pretty well the user communities. So being put together with others is not probably going to benefit a lot to the specific community, but for sure in a cross-disciplinary context. Then we also have a comment on the specific constraint of HPC to be better taken into account in the future. And I guess this comment ties with the previous one. There should be a forum or a place to discuss how to better integrate with HPC. Am I right? Not sure whether it was the same author or the previous one. Okay, we won't know. I think I can stop sharing now. Maybe we can use this last minutes. I see the comment by Tassos. Thanks that we only have 3-4 minutes. Maybe we can open up this question a little bit and see what would you see as an added benefit of EOSC. So what would you really love to see coming out from supporting or interlacing with the EOSC Association? Philip, you wanted to say something?
Yes. For us, we're in the process of entering EOSC Association. We have been part as Gen Z and Press, part of multiple EOSC project from EOSC pilot at first. And for us, it's a very interesting way to widening our the pool of user of HPC, high performance computing. There is a very big trend of democratizing the usage of high performance computing. Now, I think that every computing that is performed by a researcher are more or less what we used to call high performance computing. Everyone or almost everyone is using parallel computing. So the scale is easier to scale up, and having a closer link between EOSC and the multiple field and research infrastructure user of EOSC and the big high performance computing facilities and research infrastructure is really a very huge benefit for all our communities. For me, it's very clear, but it's required to take into account the specificity. We have a lot of contracts when we are running a facility where you can perform 1 million billion calculation per second. It's not exactly the same thing as running some calculation on desktop or on some cloud computing facilities. So we also need that EOSC take into account the specific constraints that we have, the specific constraints for security, for managing computation.
Thanks, Philip. I see that your HPC community may be in a slightly, it's nice that it introduces a slightly different view on the thematic, because it's addresses the group of researchers doing HPC, but this really, as you say, I like the fact that you talk about democratizing usage. It's a very nice image,
Yeah.
and that it's a tool, and you will do that. So
Yeah.
being
Yeah,
part of
well,
EOSC will help reach a lot of researchers.
Yeah. No, there is not just the classical user climate community that runs a big climate model or other universal science. No, humanities are also using HPC facilities. There is also no mix between big data, artificial intelligence, how to dig into a big data set. And now it involves every field of science, and everyone could take a benefit of our HPC facilities nowadays at different scale.
Okay, thanks. If there is no other comments or anything you'd like to add, I think we can quickly go to the shared document, and I can share it, and I will ask Federica to please read it. If I find the share button, yeah. Okay, Federica, you're available? Okay, otherwise I can go, actually. Okay, I will. Okay, question 1, question 2, what can be improved? Question 3, seems clear that participants believe that research infrastructure and user communities could be better represented than they are now. Some comments from the Mentimeter. General feeling also during the discussion that there should be some sort of body or forum where not only large research infrastructure, but also smaller, newer, and the user communities in general, including university and long tail of science, would be formally represented. Again, since EOSC is supposed to support open science, you don't need only big research infrastructure to be well represented, but also universities. Then several comments related to budget. We always say the minimum budget, but research infrastructure need infrastructure support too. The fact that at the beginning it's a net loss and needs to be sustained. And then I think there's all the comments which were done in the session. Okay. What are the benefits? For sure, EOS could be an additional channel for users to find the data, so enhance visibility, but the benefits are still unclear. Multi and cross-disciplinary seem a benefit, more relevant the benefits within the single discipline, but those aspects are not yet well defined. And then what would we love to see as an added value, benefit that are not yet visible, democratizing the usage of computing, HPC in the broader sense, scale up and having a closer link between EOSC, HPC, research infrastructure. But specificity should be taken into account depending on what you need to compute. Use case can be very different. Okay.
And
yeah,
I would maybe you could add authentication and authorization, because if you want to share data, I think that this is one of the most important points, that you can accountably share data and access data. And that by having a very well or good AAI infrastructure, you lower the threshold for any scientist using any kind of data. And that would definitely be an added value, I think.
Why do you think it will lower the threshold? Because you are thinking about AI not just as a way to identify you, but with the addition of group membership, role membership, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
that you
like
immediately
that.
find
yeah.
all of these defined somewhere else that you don't have to develop internally. This is
Yes,
what you meant.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Because that is, I mean, it's the AAI is a really difficult subject, and if there is already a proven technology, or that there is an organization that has done the work for you, that makes it easier for also the smaller partners to buy into that, and you get then you have an immediate benefit.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. I understand, and I think, okay, and Federica promptly added a point on AI should be a key point because you need to share data accountably. Okay.
Just one more point. While the funding has been mentioned, this has been solely addressed the funding from the Commission. Probably it would be good then also to have it in the member states.
Correct. So Federica, can you please add expand a little bit the part of the minutes where we talk about funding with this suggestion?
Let me just comment. Jan is speaking here. I tried to say in my very brief and a little bit chaotic introduction that simply the fact that 15% of the operational budget of research infrastructures concerns data-related operations makes research infrastructures already to very strong contributors in principle in kind, but also in financial terms, because if we consider that only the ESFRI research infrastructures operate with something like 2 or 1.5 billion euros annual operational budget, then 15% of that are reasonable amounts of money. And this is fully comparable, if not higher, than the contribution expected from the Commission and through the Horizon.
So this reinforces the position that okay, research infrastructure are already doing a lot. So they would really love to see some comparable contribution from the Commission or from member states. Okay, thanks. There's a comment by Tassos. Okay, was providing a link in the chat window. And Tassos, I think we have to close now.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, indeed. And thanks for being punctual.
Okay, thanks a lot to all of you for participating in this. And now, actually, what happens? Do we need to leave the room and we'll be magically directed to the plenary?
You don't do anything. You will be moved back in a couple of minutes or less.
Okay.
Just stay here and you will be moved automatically.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Thanks, Fulvio,
Thanks, Fulvio, for
the animation
of
this meeting.
Okay. And Federica for taking notes. Thanks a lot.
Thanks. Take care. Bye.